Hello again and welcome to another episode of the TryPod. This week we shall preview round 20. It's another week of the TryPod this week, round 20. Can you believe it already? Big jam-packed show for you this week. Obviously, we went 10 best bets in a row, going over last week and the week before. Our record now sitting at 92 wins and 49 losses. That is just some crazy stuff, unheard of before. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I can't believe it's round 20 already. The time has flown.
Crazy,
and
only
you're
7
right,
more weeks.
10 in a row, like, we're talking about 50-50 lines here. So if you were trying to pick a correct coin flip 10 times in a row, the odds are over 1,000 to 1.
Yep.
And we've had 9 in a row earlier this season, now 10 in a row. It's a good feeling.
Absolutely.
I feel like
crazy.
we're hitting our stride. You know, we're past the origin period. We kind of know teams are who we thought they were.
Yep.
We feel like we've got a really good gauge. We're seeing the ball really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is the time when you really can capitalise as a handicapper.
Yeah, it was a little bit shaky over the origin period. People out, people injured, that kind of thing. But now we're starting to have a few teams that benefit us as well, that have won a few straight, a few teams getting overrated at this time of the season, and a few teams that are still underrated. So we'll try and capitalise on that over the coming weeks.
Definitely. Once again, we're meeting up during the daytime just to get the pod out a bit earlier to the people. Some lines out there that we want to grab straight away.
Definitely.
Mate, we're sitting in your car at the moment. I hope you're not going to make me sick. You're sniffling. You don't look well.
I am a little bit sick. Yes.
Yeah, that's no good, mate.
Yeah.
How sick are you?
It's not as sick as
Are you as sick as your mind?
Not as sick as my mind, no. But I am a little bit crook. How about yourself?
I'll keep my distance. Oh, mate, I've seen better days myself, to be
Yeah,
honest.
true. Well, you look like it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, jam-packed round this round. Obviously, we'd had a good round last week. And capitalising off another good round the week before, and we're going to have a heap more best bets for you this week. So, anything you wanted to talk about from the weekend, I guess, or?
Once again, we're just on the right side of just about every game. And I was thinking about it. You said we're 92 and 49, which is nearly 66%. To pick 2 out of 3 on 50-50s with such a massive sample size is really nothing to be scoffed at.
Definitely.
And if you took out all the times that we bet against the Broncos, and you took out all the best bets that we had on the Tigers, I think approximately our record would be something like 415.
Yes.
Like, it seems like those are and once again...
And the Knights.
Yeah, you can throw them in there.
The Knights have come good. They've come good for us, winning 2 out of 3 best bets in the last time we bet on them. But still, they've just been our bogey teams this season.
And it seems to be that just the way that every time we've got multiple best bets on the Broncos or against the Broncos, I'm usually at the game.
Yep.
And I'm there to see it firsthand.
Yeah, definitely. And Corey Parker slots every single conversion. And speaking of the game, you were there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was. So thanks to William Hill for inviting the pod. Obviously, you were away.
I was away, unfortunately, so I couldn't make it.
Rainbow Beach.
Yep,
or
Rainbow Beach.
Some call it Stainbro Beach because you weren't really there for your mates on the weekend.
I know.
Some would say when they needed you.
But you had a good night all in all, would you say?
I probably wouldn't say that. But yeah, massive thanks to William Hill. Oh, it was amazing, mate. Like the box itself was on halfway. We had like a seafood smorgasbord, Moreton Bay bugs, just like beer on tap. Yeah, it was a cool experience. Met up with Lutzy.
Yes,
he's a big fan of the pod. I've met him a couple of times at the regatta, and he loves the pun, he loves the footy.
Yeah,
so shout out to Lutzy. It was really cool to catch up with him. He's really impressed with the Broncos form this year, and
hopefully we'll be able to get him on the pod sometime in the future.
We're really looking forward to that.
But other than the game, there was another box that you were interested in, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that box at all, mate.
All right. Well, let's just say the night started well and ended dismally.
Grim?
As with most of our nights out.
Well, something that we always say on the pod is that we give the people what they want. But sometimes in life, some people don't want some things.
Yep, that's true. Because we got to give the people...
What do we give them, though?
Give the people what they want.
And look, we've been giving people winning best bets. I think that's what they want.
That is what they want.
Did you like that post I put on Facebook last night with the 10-pin bowling? The ball bowling it? Yeah.
Good.
I thought that was pretty good.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Because you didn't say anything
No.
about it. I just thought it took effort to do. I thought you
Nah.
might have mentioned it.
No.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't
Fair enough.
get into that.
I need like positive affirmation at this stage of my life.
Yeah,
mate.
you do. You really do. You've had a few disappointing days in the last week or so.
Yeah. That's fair to say.
Your friends are there to bring you down, not to lift you up. So
Yeah, that's true. You always got to keep grounded, and even when you win 10 best bets in a row, you've still got to remember that you're not all
You are
that,
a
and
beast.
it can come crashing down.
yes, definitely.
Yeah,
But I reckon we've got some good ones this week. Should we jump into it?
sure, mate.
All right. So Friday night we got the Red Hot Broncos hosting the Titans. This line sitting at 16.5, and the total at 40.5 to 42.
We have to go against the Broncos again, and I know that it's killed us all year, and we've definitely been better off to have left a lot of these ones alone. And most recently was on Sunday.
Yes.
Man, they're just playing such good defense. Like they're just guarding their line, like their lives depend on it. I think it was 24-0 at half time.
Yep.
But the Tigers had numerous raids in the first half where they really could have scored multiple points in the game, cut it to 12-6, cut it to 18-6, whatever, and they just could not penetrate.
No, just sort of like us, I guess. But yeah, it was 26-0 at half time. The Tigers had their chances. They dominated probably the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game, and then the Broncos sort of ran away with it. But then the Tigers came right back to 26-16, and at that point, you're thinking,
Thinking anything's possible.
yeah, the best bet's looking pretty good with the line of 16.5, but obviously that wasn't to be. But yeah, look, you're absolutely right. This is going to be another one of those weeks where we have to go against the Bronx. The Titans are getting healthy.
Yeah, that's it. And I've been saying for a few weeks now that the Titans might be the least talented team in the NRL, and they're extremely beat up. And when you don't have much talent and much depth, and you're missing some key players, then you really don't have much of a shot in such a competitive and such a strong league. But they're getting a few of the troops back. They're getting a lot of troops back this week, actually.
Getting their playmakers back.
Yeah, Aiden Caesar, Kane LG, Kevin Gordon's back in the team. They've got some good outside backs. Hoffman returning to Brisbane. And for me, it's been a terrible season for the Titans yet again. It's the same story. I don't know. They had one year where I think they made the semi-finals, maybe even the prelim. I think it was actually just they made the last 6.
Yep.
They won one finals game maybe. But other than that, this club has really not had a lot of success. And it's been another terrible year, culminating in really losing out on Cherry Evans.
Yep.
But I just think this is their grand final.
Yep.
They're showing up on Friday night. They're playing, their home state rivals. Really, it's a derby game.
Definitely.
And they do have a chance.
Oh, absolutely. And everyone's just riding a little too high on the Broncos at the moment.
That's it.
As we spoke about earlier, they've had a few lucky wins this year. I mean, I know they're sitting top of the ladder, but at the same time, this is an in-state rivalry game. They always tend to be a little bit closer. And as the famous investor Warren Buffett says, you should buy on fear when everyone else is selling. You should buy, and everyone's selling Titan stock at the moment, and they're buying up the Broncos stock. So I think this line is probably a little bit overinflated by about 4 points or so. So
Yeah, look, you're absolutely right.
I think this is a good time to go with the Titans. This is a different roster than they have put up in the last few weeks. Obviously getting a lot of the troops back, so 16.5 is just too many for mine.
Yeah, and as I said before, when you see a line that high, you're always tempted to take the underdog, but it's not an automatic play. Sometimes some of these teams are undermanned, playing like a really strong home side, and they're just going to get outclassed, and the points can get run up very easily. But I actually looked at these team lists. The Broncos are going to be missing Jack Reed, I believe.
Yep, suspended.
Obviously they did lose Maguire through the Origin period. It's still a very deep side. You're right. Like luck's a funny concept. You got to give yourself a chance to get lucky. That's my experience, and the Broncos are playing extremely good defensively, and that keeps them in these games. And they have won a lot of close games. And look, we know that in a bigger sample size, you cannot keep winning every close game. Sometimes the ball isn't going to bounce your way. So I do think when we say the Broncos are lucky, I think they've been winning more than their fair share of close games. And will that come back and
also covering their fair share of spreads. They've been
Yes.
covering really big lines lately, and that makes the punters happy.
Yep.
Makes them keep betting on them. But I think this is simply too high for the 16.5. And I think when a line's this big, and we saw with the Titans when they played the Roosters a few weeks ago, that line was sitting at 16.5 as well when it opened. and money ended up coming flooding for the Roosters just before kickoff, and obviously the margin was 10, but that was a Roosters team that's better than this Broncos team, and a Titans team that was far more depleted than they are now. So,
yep. Now, we've spoken a lot about this game, and it's going to be a short pod again, and bear with us, we've got a lot of best bets, but I mean, Brisbane are top of the table right now. We know the Brisbane Broncos better than any other team in the comp. We're a Brisbane-based pod, although we are national, and I would say international too.
Yes,
we're probably,
international.
I think, looking at the ratings, we are the most popular NRL betting pod in the world.
Yep.
And I think a lot of the principles we're speaking about in this game apply to a lot of the other games that are on the board, with the big underdog getting a lot of points. I'll just say one more thing. I think the Titans can win this game. I don't necessarily think they will. They're formidable, unbackable, just about at really long odds. But they will have a chance, and when you've got a chance to win, then you've almost got to take that many points. 16 and a half it is right now, and I'm going to say just hold off, just wait until Friday. Money is going to come for Brisbane, just because people who've been betting Brisbane this year have been winning. They've got no reason to not bet Brisbane, so we're going to wait until kickoff. If we see any of these lines come down, we'll grab 16 and a half. But I suspect that you could find an 18 out there, and that's a key number. So I'd love to do that.
No one's rushing out to buy Titans.
It's a slightly. That's it. But I think this is their grand final, and this is like what you got to go the next level deep in your handicapping and say, look, never mind about the terrible season the Titans have had. This is everything they've got left. They're not making the finals. They're not going to have another highlight this year. But national TV against their rivals, top of the table, they're showing up. And I think they're going to score more than 11.5 points, which is the team total. That's low. Aiden Caesar's a great kicker. They've got their backline weapons back. And if it's a tight game, they might take the 2 here or there. I think they get to 12. I want to play that as well. And for the Broncos, their team total at 28.5, between 28 and 28.5. I think we go under that just because I don't think the Titans, after everything they've been through, I don't think they come out and cough up 30 or 40 points. I really think that it's, maximum motivation spot. And, for the Broncos, they've been so good every week. Do they rest up a little bit? Do they get complacency sneak in?
Oh, definitely.
It's not nowhere near as big of a game for Brisbane as it is for the Titans.
Definitely.
So it's not all about the X's and O's, it's about the Jims and Joes too. And I think the Titans lift, so I can see 3 best bets there. What do you reckon?
Let's have 3. Yep, we've spoken about this game for too long, so we'll take the Titans. Probably at, I guess at kickoff, because we think it'll probably creep up from here. If you see that line dropping to, below 16, just grab the 16.5 while you can, but we assume this line will creep up towards the 18.5 by kickoff, so take that. And then take the Titans to go over 11.5 points. We think they'll get there. And likewise, the Broncos to go under 28.5. Next up, we got the Tigers hosting the Roosters. This line's sitting at the Tigers plus 13.5, and the total 41 to 42.5.
And the Tigers are just about full health as well, just missing Robbie Farah. How long does it take to come back from a broken hand?
He's just a pussy.
They were saying that he was going to play Origin. I feel like that hand's got to be right by now, and maybe keep that in mind, because I'd be really tempted to take the Tigers here if Farah had been named. He hasn't. Maybe we just wait another week. I think I spoke to you earlier in the week and said, we just taking the Tigers here? It's too many points. We've liked the Tigers all year. We've lost on them just about all year.
We have.
They're one of the few teams that's cost the pod money. But what do you reckon? You don't really want to go against this Roosters juggernaut.
The Roosters are clinical. We've seen it the last 2 weeks. They're making a run for the top 4 now. Obviously, they're sitting at 3rd at the moment. But the minor premiership's still in grasp for them. I know they play the Broncos in round 24, so... and they've got a decent points differential as well. They want to keep that up. And we've seen the last 2 weeks, they've conceded, 4 points, 6 points?
That's it.
Against 2 really good sides.
That's total.
That's total. I just think I can't bring myself to go against the Roosters while they're in this red-hot form.
Tempting to take the points with the Tigers, but you've got to respect how good the Roosters are. I think they're the most talented team in the comp. Kenny Dowell, or as I call him, Dumb Cunny Dowell. He's out. He's a grub. But Boy Corder's back in the team. It's still absolutely loaded. Why don't we leave this one alone?
Let's leave it alone.
Sometimes that's what you've got to do. You've got to walk away.
Yep, absolutely. We'll move on to Saturday. Warriors hosting Manly. Warriors 6.5 point favourites. Total high, 42.5 to 44.
I don't have a best bet on this game because it's just too unpredictable. Manly's pretty healthy. Got a pretty solid team. I could see them going over there and winning in what's a grand final rematch from about 3 or 4 years ago. But you got to be careful with that because Cherry Evans got that pec injury on Monday night.
Yep.
He's been named, but I've got my doubts. I was hearing that it could have been a long-term injury. So, just be careful if you're taking Manly there. But by the same token, couldn't you see the Warriors rolling in this one too?
That's it, yeah, and that's what we spoke about. I can see this game going either way. I can see the Warriors rolling, but I can also see Manly winning this game. So, I mean, I'm not going to lay 6.5 with the Warriors, but I'm not going to take 6.5 with Manly when Cherry Evans is, a little bit in doubt. So I think this is one of those games that could go either way, so there's no real strong value there. So let's leave that alone.
Sure.
Next up, we got the Storm hosting the Dragons. Storm laying 7.5 to 8 points, and the total sitting low at 37.5 to 38.
Yeah, and again, I think we've got to look to the underdog here. The Storm were absolutely clinical last week on Friday night, but this is what we talk about, that when no team is as bad as their worst performance, and no team is as good as their best performance. And everything went right for the Storm. They were perfect, just about perfect Storm, you could say.
Yes,
last
very
Friday
well
night.
done.
50 points on the board. It was Cam Smith's 300th game. They were off a loss. It was they drew a line in the sand and said, we're through Origin. We need to step up. Guys like Cronk were sensational.
Clinical.
All the outside backs played well. Penrith got their heads down. Nothing went right. It was one of those games, the harder you try, the worse it gets for Penrith, and we'll get to them later on. But the Storm aren't that good, and I think the Storm will do well to make the finals this year. Now, the Dragons, they've been deplorable in the last 6 or 7 weeks.
Yep.
I think they were just about second or third on the ladder, and now outside of the top 8.
But that's not because they've been playing bad footy, that is because they've had some personnel trouble.
They have had a horrendous run of injuries, and they got about 3 or 4 guys back last week, and we nearly took the points against the Bunnies, but we said, we just respect the Bunnies too much. The Bunnies are a really good outfit as well, so let's just hold off. As you said, let the Dragons gel a bit. They haven't had those guys all on the park together for a little while. Let them get a game under their belt. Maybe we look to the next week. Here we are. It was a good call. We left it alone. And
it worked out perfectly for us.
Yes.
We said, let's leave the Dragons alone this week. As you said, give them time to gel. Obviously, I think they got about 5 or 6 players back in the roster last week.
Key guys like Dugan.
Yeah, that's right.
Benji Marshall, Tyson Frizzell.
And they weren't too far off South. It was 12-8 with about 20 to 15 minutes to go.
Yep.
They were in that game, and the South just ran away with it towards the end. But this Dragons outfit is looking decent now. They're missing a couple key guys, but
they're
got
still
most of the
missing
troops
Edo
back.
Nabuli, and they're still missing Trent Merrin, and that does hurt. And that's why I wouldn't be totally surprised if the Storm wins this game.
Yep.
But it's too many points.
I agree.
They're undervalued at this point. The Storm's a little overvalued, so let's not overthink it.
Yep, let's not overthink it. It was
taking
the perfect storm. It was the perfect storm, as you say. Storm off a massive win. Dragons off a pretty crappy-looking loss to South, even though they were close for most of it. So let's take the points with the Dragons here.
Yep, absolutely. And I just wondered, do we want to also look at the team total for the Dragons? Because it's a low total and they're getting 8 points, as you said, Dragons plus 8. We can get St George over 14.
Yep.
I think that's not too bad. They really only need to score 2 tries and they'll probably cover that because they're a team that will always take the 2.
Yep.
And the Storm aren't the best defensive outfit in the comp. So I think we should actually have some faith in these backline weapons that are back for the Dragons to put on a couple of tries.
Yeah, and the Dragons haven't been scoring too many points lately because they have had a lot of the troops out, but now they're back in, hanging that total a little bit lower. So let's do that. Let's go over 14 for the Dragons.
Let's do it.
Excellent. So 2 best bets on that game. And that'll wrap up the first 4 games of the round. And obviously, next up we need to hear a bit from our sponsor, our loyal sponsor, Ev Sanity.
Ev Sanity dropping a banger.
Summer bodies are made in the winter. Find Ev Sanity on Instagram today and train Ev Sane or stay the same.
Yep.
As we've said, he's got his own Facebook page now, Ev Sanity. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. Drops bangers left, right, and centre.
Left, right, and centre. Live streams.
Streaming.
Of his DJ sets.
Shirt optional.
Shirt optional.
And speaking of shirt optional,
yes,
guys, last chance to get an order in for our merchandise.
Got two spots left, do we?
Yeah, we're gonna order the first shipment this week. We can get a special introductory price. The
$20.
Demand has been overwhelming, really,
it's been great.
Which has been awesome, really encouraging for us. They're really cool looking shirts. I wore mine out to Suncorp Stadium.
Yeah,
and,
check that picture out. We've got that on the page. But, I mean, you don't just need the shirt that we're wearing. There's tanks, there's jumpers, there's all sorts of stuff that you can choose from. So just hit us up with what you want.
If you want to get the pipes out or, you want a hoodie.
Sure.
Some of these Ice Age
It
that's
is
been
cold.
passing through
Yeah.
Brisbane recently.
It is cold.
Whatever you
so-
want, let us know. But honestly, yeah, you're going to miss out on the introductory price if you don't get back to us in the next couple of days.
Yeah, so hit us up on the page if you want a bit of
yeah.
that merch.
I mean, think about
the
all
shirts
the-
are great. They look good. They're comfortable.
Yeah,
they breathe.
And I think I did a quick math. You know, we spoke about being 92 and 49. If you'd put $100, you know, just $100 on every best bet that we've given out, you could have started with 100, and you'd now have nearly $4,500.
Yep.
So that's, you know, a pretty good return on investment.
Definitely.
Alex kind of said jokingly at the start of the season that he likes to put $50,000 per best bet. If you'd done that, you're over $2 million in profit. So hopefully there are a few people out there that have done
Hopefully, yeah.
that. Let's get back into it.
All right, kicking off. Still on the Saturday, we got the Rabbitohs hosting the Knights. Rabbitohs laying 14 to 14.5 points, and the total sitting at 40.5 to 42.
Said it earlier, the Rabbitohs are legit. The Rabbitohs can absolutely repeat this year. It's a really good team. They've had a few disruptions themselves, guys like Isaac Luke, John Sutton, Adam Reynolds, even Inglis with Origin, all being out. They are all back now. You really don't want to go against the Bunnies. But we're going to go against the Bunnies this week.
We are.
And that's not a bet against South Sydney much as it is a bet on Newcastle. It's time to play on this Newcastle team. They've got the same lineup that they had at the start of the year that won 3 in a row now. They've got everyone back, and you just can't give them 14.5 points. They still have a glimmer of hope to make the 8. You know, I'm not saying I think they will, but when teams mathematically can still make it and they all get healthy, they believe they can, and that's all you need. When you've got a live dog getting 14.5 points, it's just too close of a competition to get that many points. So we're going to take it.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the same sort of thing that we were talking about while we were taking the Dragons. I mean, the Knights have been depleted. They've had Mullen out for a period of time. They've had Gidley out for a period of time. They're getting all the troops back.
Yep.
And this is a decent roster. When
It
you
is.
really
And I mean,
look through it.
What was the score on the weekend? 30-2.
Yep.
You know, they crushed the Titans, and I
And they'll
think
get a
they're
bit of
starting to
confidence from that.
they're
Yeah.
starting to roll. Yeah. One more idea I've got as well, being big 14.5 point underdogs in quite a low total game. The try line is 2, and we love it when a team's try line is 2. Yeah, they've got to score 3 times against the champs to win your bet, but you're only going to lose your bet if they score once or get
And
shut
the Knights
out.
have been playing an attacking brand of footy.
Yeah,
they've
they've
been
got
throwing the
backline
ball
weapons.
around. They've been scoring a few points. I know 2 weeks ago we had the Knights to go over 2 tries and ended up getting 4, I think.
Yeah, that was-
I think they got 3 in the space of about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
even though it was too little too late against the Raiders, but even so.
Yeah.
Let's take that over 2 tries. I like it.
It's been good to us. The Knights' backline is actually one of the best in the comp.
And there was one time where the Knights couldn't score 1 try in 65 minutes, but let's hope that history doesn't repeat itself.
Yeah, I tried to forget about that one.
All right, excellent. So we got 2 on that one. Next up, we got the Panthers hosting the Raiders. Panthers laying 1.5 points, total sitting at 41.5 to 42.
And yeah, we've got it. We're taking the Panthers here. Now, if I look at that back line, obviously they lost Jamal Idris for the season. They've lost Matt Moylan, who's their best player, for an extended period of time. He's still out. Josh Mansour, and most recently, Watene Zelezniak. That news was broken on the pod last week.
Yep.
So that's 4 either Origin or international level players that won't be playing in that back line. But they do welcome back Simmons into the team because Robert Jennings is out as well. So it's a depleted back in terms of the outside backs. It's depleted, but they do still have Soward and Wallace in the halves, and they've actually still got quietly one of the very best forward packs in the comp. Honestly, guys that are on their bench, looking at guys like Tyrone Peachey and Cartwright that are on the bench that would be starting for just about any other forward pack in the comp. Enough's enough. They got beat by 50 on Friday night. I'm going to forgive them for that because it was a great spot for the Storm.
Yep.
And things just did not go their way. I'm going to give them one last chance. I think it's a really good situation when you get thumped on a Friday night on national TV and you've got 9 days to think about it until you play at home on a Sunday for your season. Because I've looked at the ladder. They need to win 6 out of 7 to make the 8.
Yep.
This is a team that I tipped to win the comp at the start of the year. You know,
They've had a few injuries, though.
Yeah, and that's probably one of my most wrong predictions at the start of the year. I said that the wheels were going to fall off Manly.
Can't predict injuries,
Yeah,
though.
but you're right. Yeah, if they hadn't lost guys like Seguiaro's back now, if they hadn't had so many injuries, they would have won a few more games and they'd actually probably be close to the top 4. And that's how close this competition is. It's not over yet for the Panthers, but this is do or die. Now the Raiders, on the other hand, they're a good footy team that plays hard every week. But there is a a betting phenomenon known as the Dream Crusher, and that is where you've got a huge game, like a kind of a season-defining game, which hosting the Sharks last week on a Saturday, down in Canberra, when they haven't been too successful at home, and they're right on the cusp of the 8, as are the Sharks, that's like a game where you say, this is our season. And for them to lose in the fashion that they did...
they came all the way back. They were 14 points down. They came all the
controversial
way back.
calls on both sides, for sure, but to lose in extra time, and Ricky Stewart was furious with the decision to award a penalty on the final play that sent it to extra time. You just wonder how they pick themselves up from that, because now they've got to go to Penrith. Yeah, they can win the game if they play at their best, but I mean, how do you get back to training and pick up that enthusiasm level and belief when it's happened all too many times that you've lost a close game that you could have won? I feel like that's in the back of the mind, and I feel like
a real thing.
That could really sink them. They could be in for a flat spot here. So, love the Panthers this week.
I agree.
Maybe we want to look at the
1.5's a cheap line.
Yeah, now, again, I'm going to say you can get 1.5. It's out there at a few sites, but leave it alone. For now, I'd actually be betting at $1.80, or if it's $1.85 or anywhere near $1.90, just bet them for the win, only because they are a low-scoring team, and the Raiders have been involved in a lot of close games. You'd prefer not to be minus 1.5. Now, we always pick with the 50-50 line, so if the line closes, minus 1.5, we'll have to take that on the pod. But I'm just giving my advice personally that sometimes with small lines like that, it's better to just play it straight up. Because as you said, if it's a tied game and there's 10 to go, 15 to go, teams start looking for field goals.
That's right.
And you don't really want to be laying 1.5 in that situation.
Exactly.
So look, play them straight up for the win. We'll see what it closes at. I think it will close close to pick 'em, just because the Panthers have showed people nothing this year.
I agree. I think if you can catch a 185 out there at some point, definitely play that.
And the total's quite high, as it always is in a Raiders game. A very high-scoring team. But the Panthers, I think, have to D up in this game.
They've got good D.
Yeah, they do. I think they're underrated defensively. After letting in 50 last week, I think they're going to come out with a real purpose. We can play the Raiders under 20.5, which is pretty good. I don't think the Raiders score 4 tries in this game. So I think we need to look at the Raiders total as well, playing under that one.
Yep, happy to play that. Yep. And I mean for the Panthers, do we want to? We probably don't want to play them over, do we? Really?
I just think it still could be a defensive battle. It's still, like as I said, 4 outside backs missing for the Panthers.
This could be a close, low-scoring game. So let's stick with the 2 there. Next up, we got the Dogs hosting the Sharks. Dogs laying 7.5 in the total, sitting at 42 to 44.
Yeah, probably the line's about right. The Dogs are full strength. The Dogs are a very good side. They're right up there in the upper echelon of teams for me. My Power 5 teams, tell me if you disagree, but I've got to go the 2 Sydney clubs in the Roosters and the Bunnies.
Agreed.
The Dogs, don't forget, grand finalists last year, another team that's had a few injuries and had a big origin representation. And they're through that now. And, James Graham was out for a lot of weeks too.
Yes.
That's a team that absolutely can win the comp. And then the 2 Queensland sides, the Cowboys are killing it. And Brisbane absolutely playing well enough to take it out with the level of defence that they've got.
Absolutely.
Tell
me something with this game.
Yep.
Why is this total so high?
Yeah, it's a high total, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
For 2 defensive
and the Sharks, we said that the Raiders might be deflated after that crazy finish down in Canberra last week. I think the Sharks get a boost out of that. I think when you steal a game, when you win in lucky fashion, I think sometimes it gives you a bit of a boost. You don't get complacent. You don't think, we're there, we're where we need to be, because you want to be winning comfortably.
Yep.
But I think you did get some confidence out of that. I think that's the 2nd or 3rd close win in a row for the Sharks.
Yes.
So I think they're building steam. They absolutely believe that they're a top 8 side. They've got a great
forward
pack.
They're in for the grind.
Yeah.
2 epic forward packs going head to head.
They're a grinding team.
So are the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and so I'm with you. I think, I was looking at the under now. I found under 44, or possibly even better, we can play the total try line under 7.5.
Yep.
And the reason I like that is because Hodgkinson rarely
misses. He's a dead
eye. Michael Gordon's a good kicker too. And because if it's going to be a grind, the Sharkies are definitely another team that loves taking the 2. And they can tick the score up, taking 2s here and there, and it doesn't hurt the try line.
Yep.
So under 7.5 tries, what do you reckon?
Sounds good. Let's take that.
Let's do that.
Excellent. Last game, Monday night, we got the Cowboys laying big points, 20.5 against the Eels with a high total 45.5 to 46.
Yeah, I got in the car
Crazy.
and I said, how high is that total? Because the Cowboys are going to win by like 20. And you said, yeah, the line's 20. Or 20 and a half.
Yeah.
And I said, I mean, we're not going to lay,
No.
you know, there's a few things we don't lay.
There's a lot of things we don't.
In recent times.
Big points is one of them.
We certainly do not lay double digits, and this is 20.
It's
So
20 and a half.
You can't
Just
lay that
madness.
in this league, but don't blindly take the 20 with the Eels. They are depleted. The Cowboys are a juggernaut, and the Cowboys every season thrash a couple teams up at Dairy Farmers. And I would not be surprised at all if that happens here.
Yeah, this isn't even this is not a full strength Parramatta side.
No.
I looked at it and I thought, 20 and a half, shit, that's a lot of points. But then you look a little bit deeper and they have every guy missing.
Yeah.
They're a depleted side. So
Guys like Watmo are out for the season.
Yep.
Corey Norman's out. They bring back in one of the Powley brothers, but it's not enough.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
I think Reece Robinson's back as well. But yeah, big injury list on that team.
Yeah, and Sandow's missing this game as well, I think. But anyway, we're staying away from this.
Yeah, we are 100%.
Happy to stay away.
Yeah.
So once again, we've got Put Your Tip Where Your Mouth Is this week. We're going to have a couple of new contestants. Obviously, a good week last week.
Shout out to
Get
Tomo.
involved.
He beat Dobbo, and Dobbo's been our most
Dobbo's
prolific and our most successful competitor in the history of the comp. So
Yes.
massive shout out to Dobbo. The only reason Dobbo didn't win last week was because of that video ref decision to not award a try to the Sharks. Otherwise, he had Sharks 1 to 12,
Yep.
and they ended up winning by 1 in Golden Point, and that's an 80-minute bet. Otherwise, he would have made money for a third successive week. He's killed it, but congrats to Tomo. Tomo also had the Sharks just for the win, so he cashes in extra time.
Yep.
So yeah, look forward to that this week.
Should be a good one.
Look, just everyone get involved in the pod, tell us what you want. We've started trying to post more promos. We posted some AFL promos on the weekend.
Which one?
And they were winners. It's any time that you can get $2 on a team that's going to win, 8 or 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
It's just free
Not
money.
all the promos are good, so we'll try and
Yeah.
post just the best ones.
Yeah, exactly. It's just extra pocket money. You can use that to take our best bets.
Yep.
Speaking of, you want me to just do a quick recap?
Yeah, sure. Let's
Yeah.
wrap it up.
Take the Gold Coast Titans plus the points. You can get 16.5, but I think you might be able to get 18. We'll let you know by Friday if that one goes up to 18. We're taking Gold Coast over 11.5. I think that they've got a couple tries in them at least. Take Brisbane Broncos under 28.5. They've burned us plenty of times before,
Yes.
but let's just see if the Gold Coast can't show up and keep them under 30. That'd be nice. Next up, we'll take St George plus 8.
Yep.
That's down in Melbourne. And over 14.
Yep.
Over 14 points there. 2 best bets down in Melbourne. Sorry, I'm not sure if I've got these all in order, but
That's
take
right.
the Knights plus 14.5. Too many points for the Knights. They're a decent outfit. They're playing against a great Bunnies team. So no guarantees they can win, but they can keep it close. They're going to have a shot.
think they will.
And another bet that's been successful for us in the past, take the Knights over 2 tries. They'll get at least 2, so you can't really lose that
Yes.
one. Unless they just get totally shut out.
Yeah.
The Panthers, we're going to play them.
Love the Panthers.
Play them to win. If we have to, the pod, we're going to lay 1.5 points, and they should win by more than 1.5. But if you're looking at it, just sacrifice those few cents and rest a bit easier that you just need the outright win. We'll also play the Raiders under 20.5. I feel really good about that one. And that leaves just one more
Bulldogs
here.
and Sharkies.
Yeah, take the try line under 7.5. I like the total under 44 as well. But I don't know if we'll play both. Those two bets really go hand in hand.
I think I like the try line a little more.
The try line's
than
probably slightly better, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you can, if you like the total better, that total's too.
Well, maybe
high as
have a
well.
look around at what sites you
Yeah.
have. If you find a little bit more value on the 44 rather than the 7.5, then maybe
Yep.
play that.
Exactly.
But Hodgkinson is a dead eye.
Yeah, much
so-
for muchness, because you just don't know. Yeah, if tries are in the corner, there's going to be a lower success of kicking. So
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
It's a gamble in itself, but
Yep.
everything is.
Yep.
I think that's 10 best bets.
Bam.
That's a lot of best bets, but we're seeing it well. So we got to give the people what they want.
Yeah, and we've gone 10 in a row before, so
Yes, we
why not
have.
do it again this week?
Yeah, no, absolutely killing it.
So keep an eye out. The Dropbox link will be out tonight for all of you guys that have the Dropbox app. Make sure you get that if you
What the
don't.
Dropbox links to this pod?
Yep.
So why are you telling people that? Because I think if they're listening to the pod, they've probably already found the Dropbox link.
Nah, they wouldn't
Oh,
have.
okay.
Nah,
yeah,
nah.
yeah. Look out for the link to this pod so that you can listen to it. It's been a really good one.
Yeah,
So wouldn't
yeah.
want you to miss out on it.
Yeah, don't miss out on
Yeah.
that.
Okay, no, that should wrap it up for this week, guys. As always, as we always say,
Yep.
please
Please.
gamble responsibly. Shout out to Alana.